That's a lot of people. Thank you. I'm going to come.
Oh, no.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm getting edgy already.
Hello, Sarasota. Special place to me. Special place. And I'm thrilled to be home in the great state of Florida with the thousands and thousands of proud American patriots who stand strong for faith and family and God and country and never forget free and fair elections and strong borders. I will build a great wall
on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words.
And also, please, may we have a moment of silence for the victims and families of the horrible building collapse in Surfside, Florida. Thank you.
Trump observing a moment of silence. People just screaming stuff during the moment of silence. Very much on brand. Did he point to God? What was that? Who did he point to there?
Terrible, terrible tragedy.
That was weird. Seemed fake.
Tomorrow we will celebrate 245 years of glorious American independence. And it will not be canceled, by the way. It will be canceled.
Who's trying to cancel?
And we will teach young people across the country that George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, John Hancock will forever be American heroes. People want to take their names off buildings. Can you believe it? They took names off buildings like George Washington. And I told you, this is where they're coming from. We're not going to let that happen. They will never be purged from history or canceled from our hearts. The mission for all of us here tonight is to preserve the legacy of July 4th, 1776. And to defend our liberty from the radical left movement that seeks to cancel this date, demolish our heritage, and destroy our beloved nation. In just 5 months, the Biden administration has launched an all-out assault on everything we cherish and we value. Under Joe Biden and the left, I don't know if it's Joe, to be honest with you. It's somebody. Does anybody know who it is?
Everyone's yelling Kamala. They still can't say her name correctly, or they've refused to.
For religious liberty is being crushed. Nobody took care of religious liberty like we did. Dissenters are being persecuted. Our streets are being overtaken by vicious thugs and bloodthirsty criminals, Democrat cities. Our border is being erased before our very eyes. It was never stronger than the border that we created just a few months ago. Critical race theory is being shoved down our children's throats and into the ranks of our military. And our generals are even going for it. Maybe they're just doing that because they think that's politics. They ought to focus on China and Russia and other things of far greater importance. Big tech monopolies are out of control. Men are allowed to play in women's sports.
Uh-oh.
So unfair, so crazy, and so bad for women's and the whole women's sports movement. So unfair, so bad. It'll end hopefully sooner rather than later. And our leaders are weakly bowing down to Russia, Iran, and communist China. There's only one way to save our nation. We have to work harder than ever before to win the colossal victory for America First Republicans in the midterms next year, and we have to keep fighting exactly like we are for right now. And I'll be doing exactly that, and we need your help. We need the help of this great country. And I just left Ohio a few days ago. We had 42,000 people also.
No way.
And this crowd is
42,000.
big. They say you had like this massive storm They say we lost nobody.
People were leaving. People were just walking out.
I love those guys back there. Together we will take back the House, we will take back the Senate, and we will take back America. We're not going to let this happen.
It'd be great if somebody said, you know, why do we need you to take those things back? You lost all of those things for us.
Of American sovereignty firsthand. You saw that. What a demolition it was. The Biden administration's willful and deliberate obliteration of America's borders and immigration laws is a crime against this nation. We will not stop and we will not rest until illegal policies are overturned. And there's so many of them. They work so quickly. Under my administration, we stood up to the Open Borders lobby, and it is a big and powerful lobby, and nobody knows why. How the hell is this good for our country? People coming in, they're releasing them from prisons. They're criminals at the highest level, murderers, drug dealers. We took on the corrupt special interests. We fought the radical globalist left, and we won. We won so.
Globalist again. They lost everything, remember? Lost 18, the House, 20, Senate and White House.
When I left office, we had the most secure border in U.S. history. We ended catch and release. We ended asylum fraud. We stopped the migrant caravans. You know the caravans? They're coming back. They're coming back like never before. We deported criminal aliens by the tens of thousands. We achieved a 95% reduction in illegal border crossings. And we built nearly 500 miles of border wall. Really big, powerful, strong border.
Wasn't it 88 miles?
Would have been nice if they finished the border wall, and they got to paint the border wall too. We needed another couple of months. It would have been complete. It took us 2.5 years of litigation. We were sued by the Democrats. We were sued by Schumer, Pelosi, the Democrats. 2.5 years. We won 11 lawsuits, and we started almost 500 miles. Incredible, but they got to finish it up. Just finish it up. Little sections left.
Yep. He got 88 miles done. If he had just had a few more months, he would have gotten all 2,000 miles done. That makes a lot of sense.
But now Joe Biden has intentionally dismantled the border and allowed the cartels, coyotes, child smugglers, woman smugglers, the biggest smugglers, they're the women smugglers, drug dealers, murderers, and savage MS-13 gang members to infiltrate our country like never before. It's never been like this. Think of it, 6 months ago, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst and most unsafe border in history. But we are helping other countries because their prisons are very soon going to be totally empty. Thank you very much. They're sending them into our country. They're saying, we don't want these people. They're sending them into our country. Biden terminated Remain in Mexico. How good was that? You can't come in, you have to be in Mexico. They were taking everybody. He ripped up our Safe Third agreements with Central America. You know, we had agreements with other countries. They didn't want to take back prisoners. They didn't want to take back MS-13 criminals at the worst kind, murderers. And I said, well, why aren't they taking it back? They didn't do it during...
Usually the crowd doesn't get bored until about 35 minutes in. He's already lost the crowd. It's actually... I've never seen him lose the crowd so quickly.
It's loaded up with MS-13 gang members. And you've heard me say this. I said to our people, really, that's terrible. How much do we pay them? Sir, we pay them $500 million a year. I said, that's okay, stop payment. And I stopped payment. I stopped payment. And the next day, I got a call from head of Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador. And they said, sir, you stopped payment on the money that the United States was, in brackets, stupidly sending us. You stopped payment, sir. Why?
Sir.
I said, because you're not taking back people that should be in your country. You're forcing them into ours, and you're not letting us bring them back. And we're not going to pay you ever again. We're not giving you anything. They said, but sir, there must be a misunderstanding. We would love to have MS-13 back. Please, please send that. So the following day, they all went back, and we sent them back by the thousands. And they reversed that, and they reversed our asylum reforms, and they halted the border wall, and they shut down ICE.
This guy seems extra bored right here.
Patriots of ICE, and instituted catch and release nationwide. And you know what that is. You catch someone, a criminal, a murderer, you take the name, they don't have much of an address, and you release them into our country. Congratulations. You've got a nice murderer now.
Guys,
and you
headed
have
out.
them by the thousands.
One
In
guy's
just
out.
5 months, the Biden administration is...
Do you guys notice that? These two ladies, they looked over, they're like, whoa, that guy's leaving already? That's weird.
Illegal immigration is up nearly 1,000% from when I was president. And at this time in 2020, think of it, there has never been anything like the border that we created, and people could come into our country.
Everybody now is distracted by something off in this direction. You guys notice that? Everybody's looking off in this direction. Really weird.
Migrant alien youth are up nearly 500%, and they're being resettled in cities and towns.
Hey, by the way, where are the blacks for Trump people all of a sudden? Oh, hold on. Here's one. But weren't there 5 blacks for Trump people? When did they disappear? I didn't even notice that. That's bizarre.
And the way they were treated, you've seen them. They get them dropped off the wall. They drop them from a 30-foot wall. But there are many of them on suicide watch. But that's not all. American taxpayers are now being forced to pay for the relatives of illegal aliens to be flown here to join them in the United States. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Because it's called chain migration. You know what chain migration is? Somebody comes, whether he's killer, not killer, drug dealer, not... He comes here, he's allowed to bring in his mother, his father, his sister, his brother, his aunt, his uncle, his grandfather, his grandmother. He's allowed to bring in anybody he wants or she wants, and we don't want that. And we ended it, and now they're opening it up again. They're bringing people in by the hundreds of thousands, by the millions, by the way.
Sure.
You know, when they report they're up almost 1,000%, they don't know. Because for everyone you catch, they say 5 times. They say multiply times 5. I say multiply it times more than 10 times.
Wrong.
More than 10 times. They're destroying our country. We are witnessing an illegal mass migration that is planned, facilitated, funded, aided, and abetted by the far-left Democrats, who, thanks to a totally rigged and...
Oh, blacks for Trump are back now. Now people are distracted by something over in this direction. It's very strange. This looks like a Duck Dynasty guy here. It is a bizarre event. I mean, just cannot make heads or tails out of it.
America has no borders, and if his policies are not reversed immediately, we will have no country. And, you know, I watch every once in a while some of our great people in Congress who are here. We have a lot of great people here tonight, and we're going to introduce some of them, and we have great representatives. But I watch them say, oh, we have to immediately go back to the Trump policy. Not that easy. Like, you got to make a new deal with these countries. You got to make new deals with Mexico. I have a great relationship with the president of Mexico.
What do you do? You're not the president. He's talking like he's still making deals and talking to world leaders. You guys see how distracted the crowd is now looking off to their right?
28,000 soldiers to protect our border. Free. I got them for nothing. But I promised not to put tariffs on his cars, but that's okay. You know, they sold 32% of our automobile manufacturing business over a 30-year period. I'd say that's a lot. But he's terrific, and we got along great. He did a great job, and one of the reasons we brought it down so low. And he doesn't want people coming from all over the world traipsing through Mexico. And by the way, they come from the Middle East. They come from lots of places. You don't want to know about it. Tonight, I want to speak to every border agent, ICE officer, and law enforcement professional who Joe Biden has cruelly betrayed. He's betrayed. They lied during the campaign. I told you they were lying, but a lot of people didn't believe me. They lied like hell. Did they lie about energy? Remember, we want energy. They're closing down everything. You will not be energy.
Weird. Trump said there'd be no indoor heating or cooling, no water coming out of the shower. You'd have to flush toilets 10 to 15 times. But Biden's the one that's lying? What?
Russia, we didn't need anybody. In 2 weeks, you will not be energy independent. They're canceling leases. They're stopping drilling. They want to go to windmills, right? Windmills.
Uh-oh.
Wind. Oh, boy. They want to go, let's go build a windmill, Alice. And if the wind isn't blowing, don't worry about it, darling. We'll have to learn to live a different way. I think it's so sad. You know, I'm not against a lot of things, but when I see these big towers, these big wind towers that are rotting and rusting and they make a lot of noise and they drive down the value of your homes if you happen to be in earshot or sight, and it's very intermittent energy, it's not good. And they're ruining our fields, they're ruining our oceans.
Right.
And they're all made in China, and they're all made in Germany. Germany and China make 100% of those big wind towers, so they got to be laughing at us. It's so sad. You saw what happened in Texas, they froze up. Got a little cold, they froze up. I think Texas, you have a great governor in Texas.
Yeah, as many of you guys know, that's completely untrue. I have an entire YouTube clip about the truth about what happened in Texas, and it's very much different than what Donald Trump is telling you.
I want you to know that the American people thank you, they believe in you, they love you, they respect you, they need you.
Oh, there's kids. I just noted, look at this. There's one kid here and another kid here. Is this, in a sense, it could be child abuse, right? I mean, is this child abuse?
Backstage, I'll tell you, these are great people. We're going to elect a Republican Congress to terminate Joe Biden's open border catastrophe, defund his extreme agenda, and give our ICE and Border Patrol the resources, support, and gratitude they so richly deserve. The Socialist Democrats have not only brought chaos and bedlam to the border, they brought every bad thing you can have to this border. This border is a disaster. By defunding police, and by the way, do you hear the new one? It was the Republicans. You know what they do? It's called disinformation. Like Russia. Trump was so friendly with Russia. Trump worked for Russia. You know, they say it over and over on the fake news media. Oh, there's a lot of them back there.
Oh, there's 3 kids now.
Ooh.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, boy.
All wearing a tablecloth.
Trump loves Russia. You know, I'm the one that exposed the pipeline. I shut down the pipeline to Europe. I don't think they like me too much. But, you know, they say it over and over. And so now they're getting killed by the defund the police, which they're doing, by the way. But they're getting absolutely killed. So all of a sudden, they said today, I heard, and there's a word, disinformation. It's called if you say it enough,
I'll be right
keep
back.
saying it, just keep saying it, they'll start to believe you. We can't let that happen. Because now they're saying the Republicans wanted to defund the police. I said, you know, I heard it for the first time. I said, you know, did I hear that wrong? Please play that over again. You know, nowadays we can actually play things over again. I said, play it over again. It was the Republicans' fault. It is such a disaster what these people do. It's disinformation. They say it again and again and again. And after months and months of hearing it, and we have no free press anymore. The free press is truly gone. Other than a few sources, it's gone. So they get away with this stuff. We cannot let it happen. We have to be much tougher, stronger, and smarter. We have to be. By defunding police, abolishing cash bail, and releasing tens and tens and tens of thousands of dangerous criminals from jail, the radical left is bringing a nightmare of mayhem and lawlessness to every city, every suburb, and every community in America. You know, when they come in through these jails, they don't stay there. They go all throughout your beautiful community. That includes Florida and Ohio and Iowa and every other state in the union. Joe Biden canceled our program to send federal law enforcement to cities overrun by violent crime. Isn't it interesting to know that every one of those cities is Democrat, leaving innocent Americans at the mercy of brutal gangsters and ruthless killers? People are afraid to go into those cities. Now the murder rate has just seen its largest single-year increase in history. all in Democrat-run cities and areas. Think of that. Now, how did they recover from that? Look at Chicago, such a great city, and now look at what's happened. Look at New York. The prosecutors never want to talk about anybody that murdered. They don't want to talk about anybody that's trafficking in drugs. They're letting the people out by the thousands. The bloodshed is beyond belief. This week, a 21-year-old U.S. Marine was hit by a stray bullet in broad daylight while standing in the middle of Times Square.
Bro.
78 people were shot in Chicago last week alone. Now, just think of that.
They were shot?
Talk, 78 people. You know, people are sort of thinking about other things. Maybe you're not having a great time. Is everybody having a great time today?
He's such a great speaker.
Even though the subject is a negative one, eventually the subject will be the most positive one you've ever been involved in, okay? Now, these rallies are incredible.
Thanks to Amanda Pancake for signing up on my website with the code SADTRUMP. And it is sad, isn't it?
And this area is so great. We won Florida by a lot. We won Florida by a lot.
A lot. Well, he's here. What do you mean you want him? Oh, we love. Oh.
So, you know, I live in Florida. I'm a citizen of Florida. Listen to this. So,
it's called a resident.
When I was down here, thank you very much, but...
The president just said he's a citizen of a state. Guys.
After commercial, I think they spent $240 million in Florida. One lightweight put up $100 million of negative ads. I don't know, he was jealous because he did so poorly in a debate. Something happened. Put up $100 million. They spent hundreds of millions. I turn on, every commercial was a kill. I called my people. I said, how the hell can I win Florida? They said, sir, you're going to win in a landslide. And that's what happened. That's what happened. It's pretty amazing. Because ultimately, the people are really smart. They don't get enough credit. If you want law and order and justice, you have only...
That's actually correct. The former president doesn't realize the difference between residency and citizenship. That's strange.
We have some good ones, right? America first, save America. But there's something about MAGA. Just keeps coming back, right? MAGA country. Even while the Democrat extremists let murderers, rapists, drug dealers, and dangerous criminals run wild in Democrat cities, they're corrupting and weaponizing the law against their political opponents. Oh, gee, I'm so surprised. Radical left New York City and state prosecutors who have allowed crime to skyrocket to we have never seen anything like what's happened.
That was a glitch.
Record levels, record murders up a percentage that's not even possible. And outrageously and shamefully continuing the greatest witch hunt. That's what they do. They go and target me. I've been targeted since I came down the escalator. Do you remember Mueller? The 18 angry Democrats, remember that?
Remember when I came down and said that thing about Mexican rapists? Ever since that day, they've been going after me.
Said there was no collusion. I couldn't believe they came up with that. A friend of mine said, you have to be the cleanest guy in history. Think of it. 2.5 years, 48 million, the Mueller report, no collusion. This is the kind of persecution that they're doing, as an example in New York, and they're doing it all over, that you would see in a third world nation. This isn't for us. It's reminiscent of a communist dictatorship targeting your political opponents for, really, it is, think of it, prosecution. They prosecute people, good people, fabulous people, people that love our country, honest people, fabricating charges to try and silence them, abusing the justice system and leaking out information on a daily basis in the press to engage in flagrant character.
People literally sleeping at the event. See this baby asleep right here? Can't stay awake.
It's unprecedented, unheard of, and totally unacceptable in America for prosecutors to run for office on a promise to get their political enemies. How about the one, New York State? We're going to get Trump. I'm running. She's running. I'm going to get Trump. I promise her. Knows nothing about me. All she knows, she's going to get me. From the day she got in. I'm going to get Trump. But you know, the people are wise to it. The people get it. I'm gonna get Trump. Vote for me. I don't know a damn thing about him, but I'm gonna get him. But even if they've committed no crimes, no problems, it's a fascist and authoritarian, and the people who talk about democracy are literally destroying it before our very eyes. Nobody can believe the things that we're witnessing, so many things. After hundreds of subpoenas, and that includes Mueller and all of the Congress where I have been, think of it, probably no president has done more than we have, the Trump administration, including you.
Now the crowd's alive now.
With the lowest taxes, the biggest tax cut ever, with the biggest regulation.
These are every single one of these things is a lie. I mean, it's not, he's not even president, so it's not worth debunking each thing, but it's the same stuff we were debunking all of the presidency.
Which everybody's big deal. Lots of big deals. But just think of it. We did all of this and constantly under investigation by the radical left. From day one, from the day I came down the escalator with your great and beautiful future First Lady. Right from that day. They do love our First Lady, I will say. She's great.
Stop it.
She is great, and she loves you, and she says hello. After over 3 million pages of documents. Think of that, 3 million pages. Great company, big company, great company. They don't give you credit for that. I used to get a lot of credit. I get credit from the people that know. 4 years of searching, dozens and dozens of interviews, and millions of dollars spent of taxpayer funds, all wasted. The radical left continues to search for a crime and wreck lives, break laws, violate every principle of justice, fairness, and liberty. You see it. You see it on a constant basis. It's really called prosecutorial misconduct.
Whoa.
It's a terrible, terrible thing. There's no depth to which the radical left will not sink to stop our Make America Great Again movement. Think of it. New York prosecutors did not go after a single financial firm after the 2008 financial crisis caused by all of those firms, which devastated and almost destroyed our country. No one was ever held accountable, no one. They did not go after Hunter Biden or his father for major crimes. So, Joe was totally in on it. Look, Joe said, I didn't know anything about it. A report came out today in the New York Post, and actually by some great reporters. New York Post has done an incredible job. But where Joe Biden knew everything. He knew everything. Hunter Biden, what they did with money pouring in from Russia, from Ukraine, from China. They didn't go after Hillary Clinton and her foundation. They didn't touch her. They leave Democrats alone no matter how bad they are, but they've mobilized every power of government to come after me, my family, my wonderful employees, and my company solely because of politics. They want to do things to hurt us. We're too smart, and we're too good. I think we're too good, and we're too united. Because remember this, the Democrats have horrible policy. Think of it, open borders, sanctuary cities. I mean, the policies are so, defund the police, it's their policy. Remember, don't let them talk anybody out of that.
What prominent Democratic senators want to defund the police? I'm trying to think.
Republicans, I don't know why.
What Democratic senators at all? Forget about prominent.
Back the way they fight. But they do have one thing that's good. They stick together. You don't have Mitt Romney and Little Ben Sass and these people. You don't have these people. They stick together, and I respect that. The harder I fight for you, the harder they come after me. Crime is rampant on our streets of these cities. And these prosecutors refuse to prosecute even for murder, deadly assault, robbery, drug, and human trafficking. They refuse to prosecute. The only one they want to prosecute is me or Republicans.
Right.
How many of the Congress people are under investigation over there? They're letting thousands and thousands of criminals out of jail. You saw it was just announced. They're letting all these people.
He seems to be just redoing the same material. I don't mean from previous rallies. Obviously, it's all from previous rallies. He seems to be doing the same stuff from 15 minutes ago.
People are afraid to go to our Democrat-run cities. I don't like going. They're afraid to go. Who the hell wants to go? And yet they go after good, hard-working people.
More people bailing.
For not paying taxes on a company car. Company car. You didn't pay tax on the car. Or a company apartment. You used an apartment because...
This woman's talking into her phone here, or her watch here.
Says you didn't pay tax. Or education for your grandchildren. I don't even know. Do you have to? But does anybody know the answer to that stuff? Okay? But they indict people for that.
Isn't Trump's entire fortune, or at least the basis of it, based on doing business in the very city, New York City, that he claims is terrible for business?
Left and right, that's okay. Think of it. Think of how unfair it is. Never before has New York City and their prosecutors, or perhaps any prosecutors, criminally charged a company or a person for fringe benefits. Fringe benefits. Murder's okay. Human trafficking, no problem, but fringe benefits, you can't do that. Every abuse, and by the way, every company and every, who the hell, people don't even know. They don't even know. Every abuse and attack they throw my way is solely because I have been fighting for you against the corrupt establishment.
Be interesting to interview people as they leave and say, hey, what did you learn today that you didn't know when you walked in here? I think that would lead to some pretty interesting clips.
Investigations, they've all seen this. Mueller, he spent $48 million. He saw it. They also had many people, they saw it. But this last group, the radical left, they said, listen, we failed in Washington to get him. Here's the papers. See if you can take him out, New York. Radical left New York. It's because I have called for their, and I called them, out on the lies and exposed their incompetence and taken away their power. And perhaps most importantly, it's because I got 75 million votes.
Remember, he got 74 million, just like the flu was 1918. But it doesn't matter if the other person gets 7-8 million more.
But that's by far the most of any sitting president in history. Thank you.
Yeah. And Biden's 81.2 million is the most of anybody ever. Well, Trump, oh my God, look at this guy saluting. Oh my God, isn't that, so I think the concept there is that Trump's still the commander. Did you guys see this guy stand up and salute? A big thank you to Judy Lilly for signing up. We have a coupon code, Sad Trump. It's active right now.
Of any sitting president in the history of our country, far more than Obama, far more than anybody. And again, how many more would we have gotten?
Starting to slur,
fair elections. How many? I can tell you, I think many millions and millions, but a lot of things are happening. Watch, just stay tuned. I want to thank so many of the states. You look at what's going on in some of the states, it's incredible what they're doing because they get it. And I'm far more popular now than on election day because the people have watched what the hell has happened to our country in just
That's not true.
a very short period of time.
If anything, people have forgotten how horribly he dealt with COVID, if it's even true that his approval is up.
It's really an atrocious abuse of power. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. And the American people will not stand for it. I know that. Now, we're thrilled to be joined tonight by many outstanding Republican leaders. And they're really friends of mine, and they're warriors. And there are a few here that I'm not going to introduce because they're not warriors. So the hell with them. Who cares?
All right.
They're not warriors.
Fine with me.
They're not warriors. But these people are incredible, and these are the kind of people we need. And these are the people that made our country great. These are...
Hey, will he introduce Gates, who he's been trying to distance himself from for possible child sex trafficking?
Representative Greg Steube. Stand up, Greg. Vern Buchanan. Vern, thank you. Thank you, Vern. A very shy man, Mike Waltz. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Great job you're doing, Mike. Somebody with an unbelievable future. I wish I had his future. I want his future. Byron Donalds.
I've not heard of most of these people.
Right away, right? I gave him an endorsement. I met him. I said, I'm endorsing him. It took about 12 minutes. A friend of mine, a great guy. He's fighting. And
is it Gates?
I guess they don't like people that do that. But he's somebody who's very special in so many ways. And he's a very brave guy, Matt Gaetz.
Wow. Remember that they've been, wow, standing ovation for Gates. Trump had been distancing from Gates for a while because it looked so bad. And now Trump actually going fully in. Wow.
Another warrior and somebody that really loves his state. You know who it is?
No.
You know who it is, right? Gus Bilirakis. Gus Bilirakis. He's
never heard of him.
Somebody that fights like hell. Where is he? Gus. Thank you, Gus. Scott Franklin. You know Scott? Thanks, Scott. And a woman who's become a friend of mine. She's incredible. And I guarantee you nobody's going into her house unless they have approval. There was no games, right? He's screaming out, Lauren, it's Lauren. Lauren Boebert.
Oh, God. Wow.
Nobody's going into your house, Lauren. Don't.
Suddenly, blacks for Trump are engaged. They like Boebert, I guess. And also the guy with the neck beard loved it.
Thanks, Lauren. Vice Chair of the Florida GOP, Christian Ziegler. Christian, thank you. Great job. Great job on the election. My son, Don, who got up and made a speech, did he do a good job? Did he do good? Yeah. People love Don. He's a great guy. And Kimberly Guilfoyle. I listened to their speeches. They were great. And I just want to thank all of them and others that are here. And, you know, we have a lot of people from our Republican Party. They fought like hell in this election against a lot of odds because the money that was spent is unprecedented. And
you are fake news.
We won by a lot, by a record. And I just want to thank them all and the people from Congress and the people from the Republican Party. What a job you did, and thank you very much.
I really hope he brings up that guy Chris Calamari or whatever his name is.
I want to thank a group. It's called Right Side Broadcasting Network for their long-time coverage of our incredible movement.
Oh, no. Standing ovation for Right Side Broadcasting.
You know, they got banned because they held a speech or something, and they got banned from where? They got banned. And they don't give a damn. They're out there. They're fighters. They have been so great. And OAN and Newsmax and a lot of great people. A lot of great. We're getting the word out like never before. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
This is all live stuff. And a lot of cameras are going right now. That's good. Thank you very much. I don't want to mention bad about anybody because they'll turn those cameras off immediately. And I also want to thank a man who is a true fighter. You do not want to fight with him. These are tough guys, but don't fight with this guy. Jorge Masvidal, because he brought Miami to a level that nobody thought a Republican could get to. And Jorge, I want to thank you very much. You are really...
I mean, listen, I get that Trump's not great with languages, but couldn't we do a little bit better than Jorge? We can't do any better than that.
Go to Sky King Fireworks, and you know, Sky King said we are big fans and we want to do a great show. So I'll let you know if it's any good because right after I'm finished, we're gonna have the best fireworks you've ever seen. I'm staying.
Yes. Everybody loves fireworks.
And the Sarasota Republican Party, led by my good friend, Florida Republican Party Chairman Joe Gruters, for tonight's fireworks show. Where's Joe? I love Joe. Joe gave me the Man of the Year. Before I ever did this, he gave me Man of the Year twice.
That's why you like it.
He gave it to me once, and then he gave it to me during Romney's convention because he probably knew where Romney was going, and that wasn't to a victory.
Yeah.
But it was during the convention, and I said, you know, I have a little conflict. I have the convention, He said, I'll take the award. I came to Sarasota, I think that night or the night before. And Joe has done a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate it. And other people that have been incredible. My people came up, they said, please, sir, would you do us a favor? What? Would you thank the Sarasota police and fire departments for the incredible job? And I said, yes, I will. Yes, I will. And they said, sir, also, please, sir, Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, and all of law enforcement here tonight from all over Florida. We thank you, we love you, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I'm really interested in this guy's story right here. The guy who stood up and saluted Trump and who's in uniform. I want to know more about it.
Incredible tonight. You know, we had a lot of people came into this area, and they came in quickly. And with you came the storms, and then you sat and you got drenched. Is everybody drenched?
Trump's soaking wet already, as he likes to say.
Well, you don't have to worry about taking a shower tonight. That's so clean. That water is so clean and nice.
He's so funny.
Each and every one of us here tonight is part of a movement unlike anything the world has ever seen before.
That's true.
Never been a movement.
That's true.
Never been a movement like this. You know, I know people, good people, they've gone into Republican primaries, Democrat primaries, and they did, you know, really well. They came in second, third, fourth, and they became famous for the rest of their lives, and they're commentators, and they're good. We won the presidency. We changed the world. We gained respect all over the world for our country again. And wait till you see what's going to happen, because great things are going to happen for our country.
Tell us, please.
But there's never been anything like it. There's never been anything like it. We've already accomplished more than anyone thought even possible. And that's despite, as I said before, all of the everyday subpoenas, subpoenas. You know, Congress has sent back hundreds and hundreds every day, on a daily basis. We got subpoenas. They want to see this, they want to see that. Somebody said to me, very smart person, one of the smartest people, actually, very successful, said, could I ask you a question? First of all, how do you take it? I said, I don't know. It almost becomes like part of the work program. How do you take it? How the hell do you take it? And they ask me that question a lot. How do you do this? But what we've done is something that nobody thought possible. How do you do it? We do it because I love what we've done. And what we've done is going to get better and better. And the beautiful thing about what happened is now people can see how bad it can go and how quickly it can be taken away. And we can't let that happen. We can't let that happen.
I couldn't tell you what he's talking about. I really couldn't. I don't know what he's saying.
And to think that we were all set. I'll tell you what, we would have had a deal with Iran in 1 week. 1 week. Thank you. I love you too. Look at that. I love you too.
What do you mean we would have had a deal with Iran? He had months to make one. He didn't make one.
Would have had a deal with Iran in 1 week. We had done such a great job in China. You know the story with China. We made one of the greatest trade deals ever made. But once the plague came in from China, I felt I don't even talk about it, but it's helped our farmers a lot and our manufacturers. And they have lived up to that deal. I will say that about China. But it's just a terrible thing. And so many other things were happening that were so positive. You know, North Korea, President Obama told me that North Korea is going to be the biggest problem. I got along with Kim Jong-un. I got along with him great.
They fell in love, as he said.
And it was only a very corrupt election that slowed us down.
Uh-oh, what's going on? There's a big commotion.
But good things are going to happen. Remember, we passed record-setting tax cuts.
There's a big commotion here.
We imposed massive regulation cuts. We adopted pro-American energy policies.
What do you think is happening?
Oh, it's so sad to say it, because you're not going to have it anymore. Look at that beautiful price that you're paying now in gasoline. Aren't you happy at $3.50? You know what? In a year from now, you'll be extremely happy at $3.50, because it's going to go a hell of a lot higher. $1.87 to $3.50, but we had it done. American energy independence. I was so proud of that. We fought for fair trade, because every country in the world was ripping off the United States. The European Union was almost as bad as China, but nobody wants to say that. You know, it's Europe. Nobody wants to say.
Nobody would say.
And then we got them to pay NATO, $430 billion because they weren't paying their bills. So I said, listen, you're ripping us off on trade. You know the expression, how many Chevrolets do you find in the middle of Munich? Not too many, like maybe one. I doubt it. I doubt it.
Because it would be totally natural for Germans to say, we've got BMW, we've got Mercedes, we've got Audi, we've got Volkswagen. Give me a Chevy. Let's bring some Chevys here. We need Chevys.
Before the plague came in, and then when the plague did come in, the China virus came in, we did it again. We did it again. And you have a great economy. If we didn't have the strong foundation, and the radical left used to look for...
I mean, what's funny is, you know what American cars you see in Germany? You see Tesla. That's what you see.
What is India doing? They got a lot of problems. Look at how well this country, they have suffered at a level that nobody ever thought. But all these countries, and they were only doing it to try and compare us to a country that they thought at the time was doing well. They didn't do too well. Because what India and others are going through right now is not even thinkable. Not even thinkable. And what we're doing now is if they don't kill it with inflation and all the factors, because you're going to see some things that are happening that are very bad. They're doing some very dangerous and very bad things. But we've never had an economy like we had before, and we built it because the foundation was so strong. Remember this, we had 160 million people working. We were never even close to that. African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, women, young people, people with a diploma, people without a diploma. People from MIT, Harvard, and Wharton, they did great. People that didn't go to the best schools did great. Everybody was doing great. And actually, I was getting calls from people on the left. Let's get together. I'm telling you, it was starting. I was starting to see that there was going to be...
He was 3 days from completely bridging the gap with Democrats, and then the virus hit.
We never had better employment numbers. We never had... Every group was making more than they had ever made before. And the biggest beneficiary were blue-collar workers. It was a beautiful thing to watch. And I'm telling you, had we not been hit by the plague, this country would be very unified. I really believe it. Can you believe that? And I'm never sure, I wouldn't have said that.
How long has he been going?
But I was getting calls from people that you would not have believed. Very friendly calls. They couldn't believe what was happening. And then we got hit. And we had to do it again. And we did it twice.
I guess about 50 minutes.
During the pandemic, we produced 3 vaccines in record time. And remember, 3 to 5 years, they said. And they said, but it probably won't happen.
He's responsible for the vaccine that we don't even really need because it's not serious, guys. So, yeah.
Taking it and all of that, but what a difference. What a great thing. And that's for the world. Had we not had that, we would...
Trump must be praised for developing the vaccine to save us from the virus that's not serious anyway, but anything good is definitely Trump's fault.
We would have had another 1917 Spanish flu.
Here we go. It's 1918. There's no reason to keep saying 17.
They say died. But while Joe Biden now wants credit for all of our successes, do you remember during the inauguration, he said he created the vaccine? I said, no, Joe.
Joe Biden never said that.
On December 11th, remember we put it into your arm to keep you safe.
Joe Biden never said that.
His radical agenda and far-left policies have already begun to destroy our country. Biden canceled the American Keystone XL pipeline. Can you believe that? 48,000 jobs. And he approved the Russian pipeline to Europe. It's not even... And they say... Trump wasn't tough on Russia. Really? I stopped their pipeline.
Even that whole thing, Biden approved. It's not Biden. Biden can't approve that.
Let it go through. So what's that all about? Trump wasn't tough on Russia. And I actually had and have a very good relationship with President Putin. But that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's actually a very good thing. And until the plague came in...
I'm being told we should be focusing in on this guy in the blue shirt as well as his wife, who look maybe more bored than anyone there. I'm going to keep an eye on them for the next period of time and see what they do. Wife looking a little bit engaged. The guy in particular seems so bored.
I knew I wasn't going to take their nonsense because they rip us off at a level that you've never seen before outside of China and a couple of others. Biden re-entered the job-killing Paris Climate Accord. Okay? That's going to cost us $1 trillion, and you have to close a lot of factories. It was a big mistake to do it. China doesn't kick into that deal for many, many years. Russia kicks in at the lowest level. And we're going to pay trillions of dollars for that.
China.
Lose lots of business. It's a disaster. You know, one thing that happened, the World Health Organization. So when I pulled out of that because they blew every conceivable thing having to do, they said, keep your country.
This guy is yawning. He seems physically in pain from what's going on. Now he's on his phone. This may be the most bored guy. That's actually it's a good assessment that someone just sent me.
I had a good relationship with him. Honestly, I had a pretty good relationship. He said, just call me Tony, sir. I call him, just call me Tony. He said, sir, just call me Tony. He's a hell of a promoter, though. Don't you agree? Remember, no masks. Masks are terrible. Don't wear masks. And now he's a radical masker. Have 3 masks, and if you can, put on goggles and a helmet.
That's kind of funny.
Deal. But Biden's pushing now the largest tax hike in history. I gave you the largest tax decrease in the history of our country.
Helmet. That's funny.
That's what I mean about their policies. How the hell can open borders, tax increases, all of these things, sanctuary cities, all of the crap they want to teach our kids in school, how can that be good? You know what? If they had good policy, I think they'd be hard to beat. But their policy is so bad. It's so radical and it's so sick.
I'm told there's 3 Larry the Cable Guy clones on screen. I don't know that I see this guy here for sure. That's a Larry the Cable Guy clone. Maybe this guy, but I don't know that I see 3.
Structure plan would annihilate America's suburbs by abolishing single-family home zoning here in Florida and nationwide. And the reason they mention that is because I wrote all of that stuff off. You know that. I used to campaign on the suburbs. Then they say, how did Trump do with women in the suburbs? I think I did very well. I think. You know.
Are people referring to this guy? I mean, I don't think the age fits.
I got 63 million votes, and John McLaughlin said, sir, if you get 64 or 65, the election is over, you win. Because most presidents go down in the second term when they run. Obama went way down. He won the second time. You know, his competition was Romney. Who the hell is it going to beat Romney? In one of the worst campaigns in history. It was an embarrassment. But he beat Romney.
Oh, the neckbeard guy is sort of a, yeah, that's true. He's kind of a Larry the Cable Guy clone. Is he blocked by the teleprompter Trump doesn't use? Oh, no, he's here.
If you can get 64 million or 65 million, there is no way you can lose the election. I got 75 million, and they said, you lost. The USA Today explained Biden's deranged socialist scheme with, quote, a house with a white picket fence and a big backyard for the 4th of July barbecue celebration may be a staple of the American dream. But experts and local politicians say multifamily zoning is the key to combating climate change. Always climate change. And remember this, climate change, you only have 9 years left, right? Remember where AOC got up? We have 12 years. Well, we might have problems. We better be careful about nuclear and but you're not going to worry about it. You're just going to do everything right. You'll be fine. But we have, because of climate change, 12 years to live. We're down to now 9. Is anybody nervous about it? Somehow I'm not. I'm not. But racial injustice and nation's growing housing crisis, and that was the quote. In other words, if Biden and the radical Democrats get their way, you can kiss your suburbs, your 4th of July, your barbecue, and you can kiss the American dream goodbye. You know that. And by the way,
why would you have to kiss barbecue goodbye?
An election. Now, we are looking at the election, but more than looking at it. But you know what? There's not even an election. But if
they're looking at the election, but there isn't one. Okay, got it.
Days ago, like Ohio or wherever we go, we have tens of thousands of people show up. that means you're damn unhappy and you're looking for hope. You're looking for hope. And you're
Wasn't it like 2,500 people?
going to destroy our country. The leftist Democrats truly seem to hate our country and really despise our way of life. And it's hard to believe that they can. You know, you think about it. We want good education. We want a strong military. We want borders. We want all the different things. We want to have income. We want so many basic things.
They want income.
It's so
okay.
easy. Space Force is wonderful. They didn't want to have Space Force. All of these things, it's so basic. You know, I actually call it the party of common sense. Somebody said, are you a very strong conservative? I said, you know, I guess so, but I'm really a person that believes in common sense. I don't want to have the open borders.
Right.
I don't want to have open borders.
This is a trope. We're not reactionary clowns. We're just about common sense.
All sorts of people. I don't want to have that. I want to have great education. I want to have a powerful military. I want to have powerful and wonderful law enforcement. They don't. They want to defund the police. And Joe Biden is perhaps the most unpatriotic president in American history in that sense. He canceled the 4th of July fireworks display at Mount Rushmore.
I am for canceling all fireworks. I think it's just absurd. I'm done with fireworks.
She came to me. Christine Holmes, she came to me, sir. For many, many years, we haven't been able to do fireworks at Mount Rushmore. I said, why? They say it's the environment, and they say it's dangerous. I say, really? Is there anything that's going to catch on fire? No, sir. I said, yeah, it's all stone, right? Stone. Stone's not going to burn. And I approved it 3 years ago. They had some of the most beautiful. There's almost nothing we can do in Sarasota to top it. If this fireworks company does anything close, I'll be very impressed, okay? But we had fireworks at Mount Rushmore that was so incredible. And it's all stone. It's stone. And it was wonderful. And then I saw the other day that they refused to allow it to happen again. I think they do it in spite. It's so ridiculous. It's so sad. The left wants to cancel the heroes on Mount Rushmore. They actually want to take Mount Rushmore. You've heard this. I mean, nobody's surprised. They want to take down the Jefferson Memorial. They probably don't want to take it down. They want to take the statue of Thomas Jefferson out and replace it with somebody. By the way, let me tell you, you're not going to be happy with the person they want to replace him with. Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Jefferson is being removed from the Jefferson Memorial and being replaced with the Reverend Al Sharpton.
I mean, I don't even think many Democrats would want that.
No. Well, nobody would have a problem with that, right?
It's probably racist what he's saying, right?
I could name plenty that they want to replace him with, and not good. It's not good. Not acceptable. Not acceptable. We stopped that. That was they were heading that way, and I signed the bill. If you touch it, you go to jail for 10 years. And everyone turned around and they went back home. Ladies and gentlemen, the Thomas Jefferson Memorial is now going to be replaced by Joe Biden. President Biden is going to replace.
Yes, Biden will put his own statue there. I'm sure that would happen.
And honestly, it was sad. It was sad. And I felt badly for him. I do, because I want what's good for the country. But this was a very sad situation, and Nancy was being...
Speaking of sad, we find these Trump events so sad that we've set up a coupon code SADTRUMP on my website, joinpakman.com. About 130 people have used it today. Feel free, and I will thank you. Sad Trump. This is so sad.
A lot of bad things were happening with that speech, and I said, that's really sad. And then I turned on MSDNC and CNN. I just wanted to see what they thought. And they go, this was one of the truly great speeches of our time. You know, FDR, a lot of people here might not like FDR, but he was a great, elegant speaker, right? The only thing you have to fear is fear itself. Right, remember how beautiful the words were, so beautiful. The voice was so beautiful. The brain actually worked well. It was a good brain. And one of them on CNN said, this very much compares to the late, great FDR. They said that. And that's why their credibility has gone down the tubes. They were comparing his speech.
This guy is really bored.
Which was sad. It was sad. They were comparing it to FDR. No, that doesn't work. But their credibility is at an all-time low. The media, the fake news media, is at an all. Did I have anything to do with that? I think so. I think it's one of my greatest achievements. I think one of my greatest achievements is explaining to people that the media in this country is corrupt.
It's actually one of his most dystopian, authoritarian achievements, turning half the country against the institution of the media and a free press. It's actually pretty horrifying.
Camera just went off. 2 cameras just went off. They don't like it when I do that. I like to give them warning so they could just go to a commercial or something. Biden
Nah, no one's willing to buy ads on this stuff.
6 commission to honor America's founding. Within hours of taking office, almost immediately, great people were put on that commission, great patriots. He canceled the National Garden of American Heroes. It was going to the great state of Tennessee. And he announced 1 year ago tonight to celebrate. This was announced about a year ago. It was going to Tennessee. We were going to build beautiful, magnificent statues to the greatest people in the history of our country. He canceled it. Why? Why would you do that? It was going to Tennessee. The Biden White House publicly took the side of the Olympic athlete who denounced the national anthem and who shunned our great flag.
Whoa.
And in place of old-fashioned love of America, the Biden administration has new rules pushing hateful Marxist critical.
So what is the deal with this military guy? Like if he's in active service, he could be discharged for appearing in uniform at an event like this, or what? How does that all work?
Racism. It has no place in our schools, in our military, or in our country. When we take back Congress, Republicans must defund immediately.
People saying it's not an active service uniform. Okay, I wouldn't know that. That's interesting.
And refuse to pass any spending bill that does not stop these mine trainings and restore order to our borders. With Joe Biden and the radical left, it is always America last. It's America last. Look at what he's doing. It's America last. Other countries are laughing at us. They can't even believe it. While I was president, it was always America first, and our country was respected again. We withdrew from the horrible Iran nuclear deal. How about that beauty? $150 billion, $1.8 billion in cash. We wiped out ISIS and other radical Islamic terrorists. Biden has a lot to be thankful for, but Obama couldn't do it. Biden couldn't do it. We did it. We knocked out the entire caliphate in Syria, Iraq. We terminated al-Baghdadi and Soleimani. We fully rebuilt the United States military and completely restarted the NASA space program. All these ships you see, that's because of us. It was closed.
Ships? What on earth is he talking about? Like, what is he actually referring to right now?
Runway, NASA. I went down, I said, this is sad. We totally opened it up. Now everyone's bidding millions of dollars to go up to space. We created Space Force, and we took care of our vets.
Ships.
Like nobody has ever taken care of our vets. Getting a 92% approval rating, the highest in history by many, many points.
Yeah. The truth is, more of the military voted for Biden than typically do for Democrats. That's the truth.
Sorry, what a job. We recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And we made historic peace deals in the Middle East. The Abraham Accords, and we brought our troops back home. They're back home. Most of them are back home.
Which one is that?
We also imposed historic sanctions on the evil communist regime in China and the brutal socialist regime in Venezuela. Perhaps most importantly of all, I stood up to communist China like nobody has ever before, imposing gigantic tariffs, saving our steel industry and other industries. If I didn't do that, we wouldn't even have a steel industry, through which they're now paying us billions and billions of dollars. And Obama wants to cancel it, but you notice they haven't done it yet. It's too much money. That's the one thing China didn't want, is tariffs. Biden is weak on China, just like he is weak on everything else except prosecuting Republicans. And now he has done nothing to hold China responsible for unleashing the virus upon us and the rest of the world. As you probably noticed, the Democrats and the media are now admitting that I was right about virtually everything all along, almost everything.
That is completely untrue.
The virus came from the Chinese lab. Remember when they said, horrible. When I said it came from Wuhan, the lab, they went, horrible. They went crazy. I said, what did I say? Common sense, right? Hydroxychloroquine works.
Untrue.
They cost lives. They cost lives. I should have done it differently. I said, you should not take under any circumstances hydroxychloroquine. And they would have said, horrible, you must take it. And I would have been happy. But I didn't do it. I should have done it with the wall, too. Instead of 2.5 years of litigation, we will not build a wall under any circumstances. The wall would have been built in 15 minutes. They like to go the opposite. Hunter Biden's laptop was real, right? Remember when he was asked a question on a very friendly news program, and is it real? I don't know. Oh, you don't know. If you don't know, that means it's real. Lafayette Square was not cleared for a photo op, right? They thought it was a photo. That just came out. The Russian bounty, remember? The Russian bounty story was a total fake. It was made up by Shifty Schiff, remember? Russia was a hoax, paid for by the DNC and crooked Hillary Clinton. The Mueller witch hunt showed no collusion.
This guy's totally unengaged. He just leaned over. He said, Kathy, did I remember to pick up that itch cream?
Guilty. We produced vaccines before the end of 2020. Remember that? They said, oh, so many years, don't do it. We got them done. Blue state lockdowns did not work. We said, open up your states. It's up to the governors. We said, open up your states. Schools should be opened immediately, right? Immediately. Our border security actions were completely necessary, and Joe Biden's agenda is every bit as radical and disastrous as I predicted. I said all these things. Remember in the second debate when I talked about energy, and he said, no, he's against energy. I said, whoa. I felt like Perry Mason. That was the last question, right?
He's against energy.
That was the last question. I felt just like, I said, did you hear that? Nobody could believe it. But you know what?
Well, because it didn't happen.
He's destroying the energy industry in this country. He actually, that was one of the things he told the truth on. I wonder what I will be proved right about next. Perhaps it will be the election, perhaps.
Crowd likes that, huh? So Blue Shirt's wife is clapping, but Blue Shirt still will not clap even at that. Military guy saluting again. Not sure if it's actually making me uncomfortable.
The evidence of fraud, irregularities, and illegality is already overwhelming, and frankly, it was a long time ago. Democrats used COVID to cheat. They illegally changed the rules in the key states and mailed out millions and millions and millions of absentee ballots all over the place. People went in to vote, Republicans.
Blue Shirt guy's got to be thinking of how to get out of this.
Haven't. I waited for this day. I've been waiting for a year to vote. You voted. I'm sorry you voted. Here's an absentee ballot. They didn't use them. They didn't use them. They stole the votes. People walked in by the tens of thousands to vote. And these are solid, strong, great people. And they said, you've already voted. And three things happened. People would go crazy. People would get a little bit upset. Or people would just shrug their shoulders and just leave. They'd go.
Yeah, I'm sad. This isn't funny. I'm getting sort of like, like shooter vibes from a lot of the people that are on screen behind Trump. And it's kind of freaking me out.
Mailed out ballot applications to every person on the rolls. Dead or alive, legal or illegal, right? They mailed out these applications. They used hundreds of millions of dollars from left-wing billionaires to put unlawful drop boxes all over Democrat-run cities to scoop up ballots in swing states. Nobody's ever seen these drop boxes. They're called drop boxes. People coming in, nobody knows who the hell voted. And they came out 96% for Sleepy Joe Biden, right? 96. He got 96% in some of them. I got 4%. Actually, that's better than I thought, you know, because
Quite a cadence to this speech. Really goes sequentially from one piece to the next.
election. Take a look at New York. Watch what's happening there. But this is the most corrupt election. They sent ours is worse than what's happening in New York.
Will he say massive dumps here of ballots?
Operatives door to door in Democrat neighborhoods to harvest Democrat votes by the thousands. And like in Georgia, deleted over 100,000 voters off the voter rolls after the election. I said, why didn't you do it before the election? I lost a very close election. It wasn't close, actually. I won by a lot. But the loss they gave me was very close, like 11,000 votes. 100,000 votes were deleted after the election. What's going on with Georgia? 100, think of it. More than 100,000. And I just asked one simple question. Why didn't you do that, if you don't mind, before the election? Wouldn't that be nice? They abolished signature verification requirements, created a powerful system for media and online censorship of their opponents, and did everything possible to facilitate fraud, just like you would do.
A lot of people getting banned today, by the way.
That's what happened with this election. That's why there are so many people here tonight. If we lost the election, I still would have a good crowd, because we have a good, but you know what? I wouldn't have a crowd that goes beyond what the eye can see, that stays in a thunderstorm where they're going, ladies and gentlemen, there are massive rains. We're in the midst of a storm. There's lightning. Please, please go home. And nobody wants to go home. They didn't leave. Look at you. Some of the women are a mess. Now, actually, it's true. No, look at a woman. She's a mess. But the truth is, you look more beautiful now than you did when you went to the beauty parlor. So you can save a lot of money.
Oh, my God. Some of the women here are a mess.
Better. You just don't know it. You're real. You're real.
Did he say urea?
It's great. But think of it. Thunderstorms are coming. Please evacuate. Please leave. Nobody left. Nobody left. I'm glad to say you're all here because, you know, if you weren't, I would be blamed 100%. And why didn't Democrats get legislative approval mandated under the U.S. Constitution to change their election laws? They changed it without getting legislative approval. Information is coming out now in Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and except for weak Michigan state Republican senators, I mean, can you imagine Detroit? Detroit, they say, is the single most corrupt district area, Wayne County, in the whole country. You had people that refused to sign documents saying the election was over. They refused. 2 people, brave people. They refused. They said, we can't sign those documents. This thing is terrible. Detroit. Philadelphia. We have a U.S. attorney in Philadelphia that says he wasn't allowed to go and check Philadelphia.
Right.
That's a big statement. I'll tell you who didn't allow him someday. I'll do it at my next rally. But can you imagine this? Because, you know, we have a deep state, too, in this country.
Oh, yeah.
And a deep state, they work with the Democrats and the Republicans.
Fully
and those are the
conspiratorial
Republicans I don't like. In fact, those are Republicans that in many ways are worse than the Democrats, okay? They're worse.
Totally conspiratorial.
If Mitch McConnell had the courage and the guts, and if he was a real leader, he would have wanted to look into all the corruption that took place. He knew about it. During the presidential election, a lot of these people sitting over here, they looked into it and they said, that's real. And our country may very well have been in a much different position than it is today. I would have been vetoing every one of those bills that was sent.
Oh, people have spotted. This woman here looks very bored as well, yeah. I think the most bored people are blue shirt guy, and then probably this woman. Oh, she looks like she even is doing like the migraine headache type motion.
Okay. This is so far left of Bernie Sanders. He's going around saying, I can't believe this. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened. I told you. Instead, McConnell rushed in and approved of Biden, and he looked at this stuff. He said, we have to get back to running our country, really. And you had the 17 executive orders immediately signed, and then day after day after day, he was signing executive orders that were destroying our country. I would have vetoed every single legislative approval sent to my desk, and we wouldn't be having any problems at the border, with the economy, with the inflation. We wouldn't be having any problems. We would have a country the likes of which nobody has ever seen before. It's very sad. Mitch McConnell.
Even the applause lines they're losing steam now. Trump's got a wrap. We're almost an hour and a half in.
And by the way, who shot Ashley Babbitt? Who shot Ashley Babbitt? Who?
He's trying to get. He's all about support the police, but he's trying to get a police officer doxxed now.
I spoke to her mother the other day, an incredible woman. She's just devastated, like it happened yesterday.
Oh, sorry. I was checking how long he'd been going. About an hour 20.
Strung up and hung. Okay? Now they don't want to give the name. They don't want to give, but people know the name. People know where he came from. And it's a terrible thing. Right shot. Boom. There was no reason for it. Who shot Ashley Babbitt? It's got to be released. And how come so many people are still in jail over January 6th when nobody paid a price for the fire and carnage and death that took place?
Because they couldn't bail themselves out?
Including Antifa and BLM. How come? How come? And why are our Republican leaders like McConnell afraid to take up the subject and talk about it? Disgrace to our country. We need strong leaders. We need leaders like people like this. With me at the top of the ticket, not a single Republican House member lost their race for the first time in decades. Not one. We were supposed to lose 25.
That's not true. Some Republicans did lose, right?
Think of it. Look at that swing.
Could that possibly be true?
56 phone calls. They're called town hall calls. They go to the district. I'd have 10, 15, 20,000 people. Every single call I made, the person won. I went to Kevin McCarthy. I said, Kevin, give me every congressman who's down, every congressman who's even, and every congressman who's up by a little. Can't call everybody. It turned out to be 56 calls. I made 56 calls. We didn't lose one seat. If I didn't make those calls, you would have lost 25 to 40 seats. And if I didn't come to the rescue of the United States Senate,
this woman looks
numbers
genuinely
now,
miserable.
Instead of 50-50, would be 60-40. And Mitch McConnell should never have lost those two seats.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. And this woman, I'm trying to figure out who's more disgusted and bored.
All of those teletown halls. I received almost, think of this, they like to say, well, the local congressman or the local representative, state rep, he was more popular than Trump, but they don't say that. They say there's no way. But here's the number, it just came out. I received almost 1.5 million more votes than the Republican House candidates combined. Think of that. So in other words, I had a man come up to me, a real pro, older guy, said, sir, I was going to lose my election. I was going to lose by a lot. And then you got involved. It was a state known as Arizona. And I'm very proud of those Republican state representatives. These state Senate representatives, what they're doing. He said, I was going to lose my election. I was going to lose it big, sir. And then you came along and you did rallies and the level of it, and I won my election by a landslide. But you were much more popular than me, sir, and you won by much less than I did. He said the election was rigged, sir. There was no way that it was possible that I got more votes. I only won because of you. And they said I got more votes. But look at that, 1.5 million more votes I got. And that's okay, that's not bragging. That's just to show you how corrupt this election was. We won Ohio in a landslide. We won Florida by the largest margin of any candidate in decades. And only once, many, many years ago, did a candidate...
I'm noticing military guy is clapping with his head rhythmically. It's sort of like... It's a very unusual motion.
2 big states. In Ohio, you're a Republican, you win. Except for me. Once in history. But one that was never, ever, was if you win Florida, you win Ohio, and you win Iowa. I won all 3 by very large numbers. Nobody has ever lost an election if you won all 3. And I won all 3 by a lot.
What I'm hearing is it's particularly remarkable the creative ways in which Trump was able to lose.
And not stolen and rigged. You know what? We got them by surprise in 2016, and they worked for 4 years to make sure that never happens again. And they're not going to do it.
I'm watching this couple very closely. The guy is complaining, and the wife is looking down at the watch every time. I think he's saying, like, we got to go. How much longer is this going to go on? The dynamic between these two is really, it's something.
And a lot of the people in the audience, I recognize so many. I love this state. We easily won the Cuban-American vote in Florida, including a mammoth increase in Miami-Dade County, something that doesn't happen with Republicans. We got a tremendous vote. 15% of Cuban-Americans who voted for crooked Hillary Clinton in 2016 switched their votes to us. Yet Joe Biden, who did not even campaign here, supposedly got millions more black votes than Barack Hussein Obama. Now, let me ask you, does anybody really believe that Biden got more black votes than Obama?
Blacks for Trump clapping.
Especially in the swing states. Well, they really came out to vote in the swing states, really, I'll say. So he got more votes than Barack Hussein Obama.
Blue shirt guy checking traffic on Google Maps now with his wife. How long is it going to be to get home from this shit?
It's divisive. He wasn't divisive. We have a truly sick election system, and it's got to be changed. Remember this. I am not the one trying to undermine American democracy. I am the one trying to save American democracy. Sure.
Right. I think this is the start of Trump's wrap-up.
And we can't let them take away our free speech so we can talk about corrupt elections. Otherwise, that's communism. That's what they do in these communist countries. You have no voice. Republicans across the country are uniting around a plan to secure every future election with photo ID, voter ID, universal signature verification, citizenship confirmation, chain of custody, integrity controls, update.
What's the name of that paradox where you keep going half the distance to like a wall? And if you just keep going half the distance, you'll never actually get there. It sort of feels like that way. Like we're definitely 50% in. We've definitely got another 50%. We're at Zeno's paradox. Exactly. That's what this is.
Look. And restoring the time-honored tradition of in-person voting on Election Day. Not 30 days before and after.
Remember, Trump voted early by mail.
Conclusion, with the help of everyone here tonight and patriots nationwide, we will elect a Republican House. Going to do it. We have no choice. And a Republican Senate to do all of this and so much more. We're going to bring our country back with a Republican Congress. We will fight for more jobs for American families, fair trade for American workers, and more American factories forging more products stamped with that beautiful phrase, made in the USA. Made in the USA. Remember, we used to have that. We have it now. We're starting to get it back. And then Biden got elected. They're not using it anymore. We will hold China accountable.
You know, you don't need to use the phrase to do it.
And charge them $10 trillion at least in reparation. We will defend American sovereignty. We will secure America's borders.
People heading for the hills.
We will
Here they
end
go.
illegal immigration.
And they're running. People are literally running out now.
Had it just about ended 6 months ago. We will break up big tech.
They do seem to be camera people. I'm joking. I mean, they seem to be, getting set up to film something.
Free speech in America again. which we don't have. We will protect innocent life. We will defend our Constitution. We will defend the Second Amendment, and we will proudly uphold the Judeo-Christian values and principles of our nation's founding. We will care for our veterans, continue to strengthen our military, and give our police officers, Border Patrol, ICE, and law enforcement our 100% support.
Right.
We will restore patriotic education to our schools.
These are the same things he promised before losing by 8 million votes.
Their country, honor our history, and to stand tall and strong for our great American flag. 245 years ago tomorrow, 56 brave patriots in Philadelphia proudly declared our independence and boldly proclaimed the eternal truth that we are all made equal by the almighty hand of our Creator. For 8 long years of the American Revolution, tens of thousands of ordinary citizens fought, bled, and died in an epic struggle against the most powerful military on the face of the earth. They were the most powerful. They were farmers who bravely stood their ground at Lexington Green and Concord Bridge. They were soldiers who marched barefoot through ice and snow to seize a pivotal victory in Trenton. And they were selfless patriots who did it all so that we, the people, would forever rule our great country.
It's truly pablum, right? I mean, it's completely uninspiring.
An entrenched interest that anyone can imagine. But no matter how big or how powerful they may seem, you must never forget, this nation does not belong to them.
Actually, not even. Pablum suggests there's something intellectual about it, and there's not.
Belongs to you.
It's like not even red meat, it's trash meat.
It's your history, it's your heritage, and our magnificent American liberty is your God-given right. You fought for it. The citizens of the United States of America will not be dictated to and talked down to by corrupt politicians, tyrants, left-wing bullies, or socialist bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. I know many of them. I don't like them much. Our forefathers are the people who gave us the world's most majestic and enduring Constitution. They are the men and women who crossed the Rockies in covered wagons and who faced unimaginable dangers to win the Wild West, and who tamed the wilderness, forged the steel, laid the railroads, dug out the canal, raised up the skyscrapers, and built America into the greatest nation in all of history, and we are not going to let it go.
Well, you lost.
Our ancestors just absolutely crushed fascism beneath the weight of American tanks. They toppled communism by the sheer strength of American culture. And now we will defeat woke radicalism by the sheer power of American pride, and it's happening. Americans settled the new world. We built the modern world, and from right here in Florida, we launched American astronauts to proudly salute our stars and stripes on that very beautiful
give me a break.
moon. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no enemy we cannot match. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is nothing we cannot do.
Is he lifting this stuff from Biden's speeches? Because this is very Biden-like.
And our hearts bleed red, white, and blue. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down. We will never, ever surrender. My fellow Americans, our movement is far from over. In fact, our fight has only just begun. You know that. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So with love of America swelling in our hearts and the spirit of July 4th, 1776 stirring in our souls, I say these words to you tonight. We will make our elections free and safe again. We will make America powerful again.
Seems like satire.
We will make America wealthy again.
When he's done, let's see if blue shirt guy even claps.
Make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again.
Man, this is so
and
lame.
We will make America great again. Thank you, Sarasota. Thank you, Florida. Enjoy the fireworks. Thank you, everybody.